Previously known as the 2920BH, the new Passport 292BH Superlite here at Haylett RV of Coldwater, Michigan, is a good instance of brand new looks, same great taste. And what really makes this one stick out of the crowd compared to so many other campers is the fact that it has 4 individual bunk spaces in a private rear bunkhouse. So if you're looking for that extra bed space, that extra individual sleeping area as compared to those double beds or the like triple bunk rooms with a big outside kitchen, this is the ticket right here. Now there are 100 little areas where they really nailed it in the 292BH, but what I call travel mode is one of those. By kind of flip-flopping the sofa and the dinette, they made it so that you get to enjoy this huge countertop here in the kitchen. But you can pretty easily sneak your way through here. You don't even have to go do a sideways travel trailer shuffle until you get over here to the bunkhouse. Now it does get a little close right here, but as of 5 seconds ago when I stepped on the scale, I am 201.6 pounds, and obviously I can get back here into the bunkhouse. So if you need to get the camper packed up and ready to go, you can get to everything here, but no tour in travel mode of the 292BH would be complete without taking a look at the little bunk garage down here. So this deadbolting cargo door for, kiddo security right here opens up, and obviously we've got a bunk in the way. But with even my lightweight chicken arms, these handy little gas struts make it very simple and easy to get in here. Now you see that you do have cargo space lighting here, so if you do need to get in this thing at night, plus the overhead bunk light kind of doubles as a cargo garage light, if you will. And voila, we've got this big old cargo garage in travel mode that gives us all the room in the world for chairs and folding picnic tables and mother-in-laws and every other thing. Oh, I'm gonna hear about that one, aren't I? And this is a really rare case where they were actually able to make some updates and some improvements without really affecting the weight or the cost of the camper. This pretty much still weighs and costs exactly the same as a old 2920BH that was made not too long ago since the time of this filming, but it has newer features, a full facelift inside and out, and a bunch of tiny little smart feature upgrades above the old 2920 that I think you're really going to like here. We still have those same max size windows for tons of light, tons of air in your super slide. Now above that though, you're going to see some updated light fixtures. Now what's kind of cool is there's that little black switch on the inside of the slide wall over here. That is a touch sensor basically. So those are touch activated lights, and they're also on a dimmer switch. If you touch and hold that sensor, it will dim the lights, and then of course you touch and hold it again to brighten them back up. Another thing that they've done well here is they have added a lot of extra outlets for the family. Household USB outlets just all over the place in these things, so that you always have plenty of plugs for all the kids' devices, phones, tablets, smartwatches, everything else. It seems like we all have a million things nowadays that are USB powered. They have maintained those bench end doors to get to the storage below the dinette without having to tear apart the entire bench ends, which is kind of handy. And as we swing over here toward this sort of convertible closet pantry, you might notice the fact that there's a hanging rod in the top of it, but a shelf right below it. Well, that's because this has adjustable shelving, so you can kind of convert, update, upgrade this storage capacity and storage space here to whatever sort of needs, wants, and desires fit you on an individual camping weekend. And that's what's cool about it, is it's not just like a one and done sort of thing. You can really kind of change it around to adjust to your needs on any given weekend. Now you see that we have that big skylight and shower surround paneling there. Now notice how that bathroom counter kind of arcs away from the toilet right there. That's very handy for some extra shoulder room for bigger people like myself. And they left everything open here on the side so that you can very easily access any sort of storage space in there. I also do like to point out that they have protective shower surround paneling and a full vanity and cabinet as opposed to just a mirror sort of glued and stuck to the wall. Now again, we have a private rear bunkhouse back here with a real door that you can close, not just a curtain. So you maintain maximum potential privacy here, and you'll see that trend continue up in the master bedroom. But again, because they go with a smaller outside kitchen, you gain that 4th bunk in this bunk space so that you can have maximum sleeping capacity in minimum weight, length, and cost. And those are good things. So we haven't even got to the super slide seating or sleeping space that we'll get to in a minute. Now, each bunk is going to have a window here, with the exception of the lower driver's side bunk due to the deadbolting cargo door. But I want to point out that each bunk has its own set of USB plugs, so that you can always have different devices charged up. Again, the bottom bunk below here is going to be a little bit different in that regard, simply due to the capacity to have cargo space in there. What they didn't want to do, I asked them about that. I said, now, why is this the one bunk where you didn't put a USB plug? They said, well, what we were afraid would happen is that a kid would leave something plugged into that mom and dad didn't know about. Mom and dad would lift the lower bunk, and they would break the plug, break the device, or break the outlet. And they didn't want that to happen. And I think, now, once they explain that, I went, that does make a lot of sense. Because my kid will leave stuff in her pockets, and then you do laundry, and when you're emptying her pockets before you do laundry, you're like, oh, apparently that's something. So you've got TV hookups above the rear closet area here, but what I like is it's kind of a combination closet and dresser space. And I mean, anyone who's got kids in a camper knows kids just take up so much space. My wife and I recently purchased a new house, and we came to the conclusion that 2/3 of everything we own, it revolves around our kid. And we've only got the one. So if you've got 4 kids on 4 bunks back here, or if you have 2 kids and you let them each bring 1 friend, you are going to have a ton of stuff back here. And it is nice to have that extra cargo capacity. So close the door, rainy day sanity room for mom and dad. And I think any camping mom and dad's going to know exactly what I mean by that. Now, if we look up front, you see that the bedroom doors, kind of like the bunk room doors, they slide closed for privacy. And that is especially important, I think, when we start folding down the sofa and the dinette to reveal 2 to 4 additional sleeper capacity down here. It is just really, really impressive, the total amount of sleeping space you have in here. So you have 2 in the master, 4 in the back, 4 more here. This is a bunk room, or a bunkhouse, that can easily sleep 8, and it can sleep 10 if you double up on the super slide seating here, because that's like a 7-foot dinette that is nearly 4 feet wide. So it might, I don't know, close to the size of a full bed, a little tight for 2 adults, but 2 kids all day long. And then, of course, the hide-a-bed over here, I can personally confirm my wife and I can both sleep on these for a weekend, because that's actually where we crashed the last time we went family camping with my parents, and they're in Montana. So, you've got all the sleeping space, and that's what this one gives you. It gives you maximum sleeping at minimum weight. And now, when we're not in sleeper mode, or even if we are sleeper mode, you know what? If you've got a bunch of kids here, grandkids, your kids, neighbor kids, whatever, you want to put a movie on and flip that TV on at night, you can, whether you're sitting there during the day or if they're laying here at night, you can put a movie on and the kids will just kind of, zero in, mellow down, and maybe help put themselves to sleep. And I think that's one of those things that any parent or grandparent or anyone's looking for is just, go out, have a good time, but eventually we got to be able to put these kids away. Now we can sleep, the kids and all their friends and half the neighborhood in this camper, but you got to be able to feed them. And that is another thing that this one does well. We've already seen that adjustable sort of closet pantry. It can be extra space if you need. But if we take a look up here, you can see these hardwood cabinet doors open up to reveal full overhead storage space. And the reason I say full is if you look at the cabinet fascia right here, the style, the box of it, it doesn't sink back in relation to the microwave. So you are maintaining full overhead storage. And Passport is utilizing longer lasting pocket screwed cabinetry. And that's kind of one of the things that I don't think Passport gets enough recognition for, is that this is a very quality brand. And what I mean by that is that this is a brand of camper that stays in your driveway and doesn't come back to mine. And I think that's the number one goal of anyone buying an RV, is they want it to stay in their driveway and not go back to the dealers for service. And this is a brand that gets that done exceptionally well, better than many others, most others actually. They've revised their kitchen area here. First of all, we're going to zero in on the fact that we now have a nice place for a wastebasket here. And beside that, we have 2 full-time drawers instead of drawers inside of doors. So it's just quicker, easier to access. It's not like the drawer in a door thing was the end of the world. It was just one more thing you had to do. Well, now you don't. Now you just grab it and go, just like you expect. Now right over here, we've got what I like to refer to as a pantrytainment center, where there's storage all over the place around the TV area, and we've already seen how the TV can swing out. But I specifically wanted to come around here. You've got this big L-shaped peninsula countertop. Well, you have to make sure you can get to all of the potential storage space under that countertop, and that is something that Passport has accomplished exceptionally well. And as we swing back around here, I want to draw your attention to the fact that we have new pressed membrane countertops. And there's no seams on this, there's no T-molding, so that on a higher water exposure area, such as around a kitchen sink, we now have greater resistance to water and anything like that. So not only are we looking at better cabinets, not only do we have an all-aluminum structure, but we've also got better kitchen facilities to last longer now. Like we've got the new Furrion oven with that recessed tempered glass stovetop to give you more prep space, as if you didn't have enough here already. And then you have a recessed stainless farm sink with a one-piece cover here to also act as additional prep space. And if I pull that out, again, you can see you've got a nice quality fixture right there, something that's going to be, you know, very heat resistant. And for cleanups, the bigger sink and the high-rise sprayer faucet make life a lot simpler and easier. Now, one of the questions I get, people will look at a laminated trailer and they say, why are there no outlets on the walls? You know, it's hard to put outlets in the sidewall of a laminated trailer because you have to try to fish wiring through a wall that's pressed and glued together. Well, what they tend to do, for a lot of different reasons, is they will tend to put outlets overhead under the overhead cabinets. And the reason that they need to do that, guys, is to basically maintain RV code. The walls are not necessarily thick enough here in an ultralight RV wall to accommodate one of those fixtures. So they make sure that you do still have your outlets. They're just in a little different area. By the way, something I didn't talk about next to this Bluetooth DVD stereo. We have a little entertainment expansion shelf along with some USB plugs for a cool little like phone device charging area. Now, sliding past that, speaking of USB plugs, we've already seen them in the bunkhouse. We've seen them by the dinette. Now we see them on both sides of the master bed. Also, this is a full residential queen size bed. This is a full 60 by 80 residential queen, so it's not the shorter camp queen. It is the longer bed, so even a taller bear like me has plenty of room to sit down and stretch out. You've got your full-length hanging closets with those mirrored doors to really reflect light around. And how about that beautiful new shiplap front wall? Does that not look awesome? Holy cow. And I tell you what, I like how they got away from a lot of the Nike Adidas swooshes on these things, and you just got these nice sharp lines. It looks like it's moving even when it's sitting still, and they might not be perfectly linear. Some of the lines bend a little bit, but it doesn't look like a guy took a paintbrush and just went all over the side of your trailer, you know. I like it. The swooshes look fine. I like something sharp and different and modern. And I think that's really what they did here, is they brought this thing forward pretty fast and pretty hard. Now you can see the bigger entry handle. This technically represents the base level Passport. Yet it still has a lot of really good features, like we got that central air, the LED lights, the power awning here, the enclosed heated belly we haven't talked about yet, the wide stance axles, and this new expanded cargo area. I mean, for what you want to refer to as a base level product, they sure did a bang up job. So this is bigger than it was last year, and it now includes motion sense lighting. And that's something I didn't talk about inside. Right inside the door, and right there inside the pass-through, this has motion sensitive lighting. Now it has 3 modes. It has on, off, and motion mode. So you can still do with it whatever you want. But what's cool about that is it won't, you don't necessarily run the risk of accidentally leaving it on and eating your battery when you're not by the camper, you know. Also, the inside light by the door, it's nice to have that on only when you are not opening the door, or pardon me, only when you are opening the door, so that you don't collect a big cloud of bugs by the door. Now, a couple things down here. Right up front on the front of the chassis, we have a simple solar prep plug for those little portable panels, and you can see the Norco frame on this, at least that home plate shaped sticker right there. And I think home plate shaped, the word home there really applies, because in home construction, if you want a good house, you start with a good foundation. And this chassis is lighter but stronger. It's a Z-frame. You notice it's not an I-beam right here. It's a huck bolted chassis. Costs a little more, but guys, in my experience, brands that ride on this chassis seem to have the better service records. And there are some other brands like Apexes, Freedoms, Rockwoods. They're on a traditional chassis and they have great service records. But man, these guys really are getting the job done. Now we have an enclosed underbelly with a 30,000 BTU forced air furnace, which is real nice. Huge windows, and they are UV tinted to increase and maintain privacy, so you're never going to lose privacy out here, and also to keep the sun and the heat out of the camper. Now it says both a black tank flush on the other side near the bathroom. Black tank flushes should always be close to the black tank instead of a long distance away. They work better that way. And we do have an outside utility shower over here. Now we've already looked inside the little cargo bunk area when we were in travel mode, but right here, kind of in camping mode, I again want to circle back to the fact that that is a dead bolting door. So you can lock that down for kiddo security and, you know, to eliminate the risk of somebody grabbing your kids. You know, that's not a thing just to be overstated and paranoid about. It's fine to be concerned about your kids. Spare tire actually brackets on the back here. It just kind of keeps it up out of the way for you. What I like about this is the spare tire doesn't tend to bounce and wiggle in transit anymore. I also really like the fact that that laminated rear wall is that deeper accent color, because it really just helps, even from the, like, this thing looks good in the front, but it also still looks good from the back. So even when you're towing it, even the people behind you are like, dang, that is a sharp looking camper. Then with the push of a button, voila, we got this easy tilt power awning. But before we get there, we pass by, really it's the secret in the sauce of the Passport 292, and that is the really effective low profile telescoping outside kitchenette that they came up with a few years ago. It still has, you know, an outside fridge, we've got a cooktop, we've got a multi-function sort of quick release sink that can, you know, use several different sort of hookups on it. So if you do want more of a sink action, or if you want a second like outside shower or utility hose action on the campsite, you have it. But then you have these dual wing out countertops here, and it's really this that kind of sets this one over the top for me, because a lot of campers have a small outside kitchen, but this one gives you that extra prep space where you don't have to reach way back and into something to access it. It's just out here if you need it, and if you don't need it, it's gone. There you go. That's all it takes to do that. Now, by going with a low profile outside kitchen, they were able to maintain 4 individual bunk spaces. That's the key to making that happen right there. Now over here in the awning, between the white sidewalls and the white skin under the awning and the full-length LED lighting, you're gonna have a really nice well-lit patio experience at night. And if it is a little bit rainy or something, which thankfully it's not right now, it literally only takes 2 fingers to tilt that awning down, put it on an angle, and have a you know, rainy day friendly awning right there. And it still does have an auto rain dump feature. What's cool though is this is self-correcting. So if you leave it like that and then you close the awning, it will sort itself out and then come back out flat and fully extended, as opposed to angled like this. You can't screw it up. All you have to do is enjoy it. The load equalizing axles that we have here, I call them wide stance stability axles because the name is very descriptive. By spreading the axles like this, what you really do is you reduce the amount of swaying and bucking and chucking that the trailer goes through in transit. And actually, here, hold on. Pardon me, sir. Friendly neighborhood Keystone driver. You're going to be famous. Are you a left-handed handshake? Now, at the bottom of the screen, does it say paid actor or anything like that?
No, sir.
No, sir. Okay. So you deliver these things all over the place, right? And sorry for putting you on the spot. How do these things tow?
The Passports have been some of the best trailers I've pulled so far.
They just, you know, obviously you've got more vehicle with this big old 1-ton dually than you need, but they haul easy for you. They don't tend to bounce. They don't try to push you around or nothing.
Smooth.
Oh, there you go, guys. Here's a professional, thank you, by the way. Here's a professional driver who literally tows trailers for a living, endorsing the way that these handle on the road. If that doesn't tell you that these things tow nicely, I don't know what does. So with that, give us a call, whether it's hitching, pieces, parts, trades, finance, truck and trailer package deals, RV delivery, and everything between. We do it all at Haylett RV, except for hidden dealer fees. We'll leave those to the big box stores. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.